Rampage.
Hi guys, this is Wisper, coming at you again with another IO commentary video. This one stars my face, which is not common. I don't think I've done any big face videos on this channel, because this channel isn't about this. This channel is about me playing IO on screen, and what that looks like. But this is a video about 7.14, the most recent patch to Dota that has very heavily reworked IO. And I kind of want to just lose my shit on camera, if that's okay, because I think people need to understand how negative this is. And this isn't coming from just me personally. I really hope on screen right now you guys are seeing a little bit of evidence from other high-level IO players who are losing their mind about how terrible this patch is, how this has really significantly, from the core of what the hero represents, changed how IO works, for the worse. And I want to discuss that with you guys today. I don't have a problem with any of the individual changes they've made to IO's abilities. None. You want to make spirits slow people? Cool. You want to take away slow from tether? Whatever. It's fine. It's weird. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but you want to do that? Oh, okay. It's not the end of the world. You want to make tether go through BKB, you want to reduce the cast time of the spell, you want to increase the AoE collision of spirits. Cool, bro. That's fine. It's not the end of the world. I'll manage, right? The issue with this patch, and where I think a lot of professional players and me personally are really fucking upset, is the way in which you control your spirits. And very specifically, the language on that is spirits in and out is just one ability now, which they don't mention is the same button as activating spirits. So in my keyboard, that's 2. 2 is to activate spirits, and normally 5 and 6 are my in and out contraction expansion buttons. They have changed all of that so that now in and out is just the number 2, as well as casting spirits is number 2. And they alternate in only in and out, and you cannot catch them in between, so they're only close or only spread out, and there's a 1.5 second cooldown between shrinking or expanding those orbs. Let's keep my shit together until we move on and get it all out, and then I'll lose my mind. This is fucking insane. For like, oh man, I don't understand how someone whose job it is to be paid yearly to understand, presumably how individual heroes work. I doubt there's one dude who does all heroes, right? I think Ice Frog is a nice name that we like to joke about, but presumably this is broken down into committees, and committees handle different heroes. Some dumb motherfucker who works for Valve decided that it would be a good idea to completely remap how the hero works in terms of using its only damage spell, which is spirits. And I've spoke for a long time on my channel about how they've been trying to change IO to make him more applicable to entry-level players. I think that's where Dota makes its money. They want to be constantly pulling in new players in order to bring new blood into the game. If they stop bringing in new players and old players keep leaving, that's a dead game. And that's what they don't want to do. They have millions of dollars in tournaments. They have monthly money coming in from people buying skins in the game and Dota Plus and all this stuff, and they don't want to walk away from that. So they're desperately trying to make, presumably, every hero in the game ready for entry-level play. And to me, that's just insane. What they've done by doing this spirits change is they've completely alienated the old guard that made IO look interesting, played at a tournament level. If the whole idea is that IO is really difficult and people stay away from him, and then they see a tournament played, they watch some Twitch streams, they go on YouTube, and they see, oh shit, that's an IO that just went like 15-2. How do I do that? That's a whole journey that person can take to understand that hero, get better with it, and come out the other side feeling like they've accomplished something by excelling at something that's difficult, right? People take hard, difficult challenges in their life in order to be able to accomplish them and feel better about themselves afterwards. Why must everything be dumbed down to just one button that I press and it expands and it's slow? What's the problem? It's just one button. The one button's easier. What they've done is multiple very impactful things to IO that I want to talk about now. One is that they've taken away the ability for you to double cast spirits. And what I mean by that is spirits lasts around you for 19 seconds, but it has a 14-second cooldown. So there's a 5-second window when your spirits are going, when you can reactivate spirits, and all of your previous spirits orbs will explode, they'll do damage, and you'll get 5 new spirits. And this is great, because if you have spirits contracted on you, and they're close to being off of cooldown, you can run into someone, explode, and recast spirits. And you'll have 500 magic damage done from the AoE, and then an additional 500 coming out of your spirits. You can no longer recast spirits because it is the same button that expands and contracts the orbs. If you have 1 spirit remaining of your 5 spirits and you want to recast that spell because you're about to go into a team fight or you feel like you might be ganked at any moment, doesn't fucking matter. You have to wait for that 1 goddamn orb to expire before you can recast the spell. No more double spirit bombs. No more preemptive trying to control when the cooldown of your spirits was. That's very important. If you're about to, if you sense a team fight is breaking out, you want to cast spirits early because you want to have access to that second spirits cast when you get into the team fight. If you cast spirits the moment the fight breaks out, you have to wait a whole 19 seconds for your double spirits cast. If you cast spirits early, you can basically shorten the window to get to that 5-second cooldown window, and you can't do that anymore. So that's a very big deal. Not having that spirits control to recast spirits, to control that cooldown, to explode them when you want to explode them, doesn't happen anymore. So sucks to be you. Number 2, you don't get to have fine-tuned control of your spirits anymore. You have to work within this 1.5 second cooldown to contract and expand your spirits. And that doesn't make any fucking sense. When the enemy can move in a split second and you have to wait 1.5 seconds to change the rotation of your spirits, you're fucked every time. It doesn't matter if the spirits slow them down. It doesn't matter if your teammates are there to help you. You've literally made it less advanced. It's like taking reading at an 8th grade level and dumbing it down to reading at a 2nd grade level. And you're like, now it's easier for everyone. And it's like, yeah, now it's fucking boring. And it's not nearly as effective as it once was. It doesn't do the same function as it once was. And let alone, this has been the same function and the same way this has worked for this spell for years. For years. Since before Dota 2 ever came out, there was Dota 1. And in Dota 1, this is how this shit worked. So you're telling me that players like Crit, players like Mikashiru, players like Guardian Wisp, who have been playing IO for 5 fucking years and more, they have to retrain how their hands are going to hit buttons, and they're going to have to rework how their favorite hero works so you can get 1,500 new IO players out of whatever countries they're from in order to bolster your Dota Plus money? Like, it doesn't make any fucking sense to me. Like, another hero that wasn't as complex, that wasn't as difficult, I can see it making sense, but on something so complex, this is what you're doing? I don't understand it. They've just they've taken away what makes the hero fun. And they've taken away the ability to get really good at the hero. That's what they've really done. And that is quite literally my entire channel's function. And most of my relationship to Dota 2 is being really good at this hero. And if you've taken out the ability, if you've taken the shift of the focus of how to get kills and how to be good with that hero away from spirits, which is the only damage source he has, by the way, that isn't physical, the only damage spell in the game that you have is spirits, and by taking emphasis away from that, what do you have left? What do you have left? Hit level 20 and go tether attack talent and try and whack people? I've been doing that anyway. Why does that have to be the new crux of how I win games with IO? Not to mention that you're nerfing Helm the Dominator at the same time. I'm getting too specific now, but this is easily the shittiest update that has ever occurred to IO. Not because the outcome of his spells and his abilities has gotten worse, but because the core fundamental way in which the hero has been played has been changed. And I don't think I'm gonna play Dota anymore if they don't change it back. And I say that knowing with probably like more than 50% certainty that they're not going to change it back, because that's not how Valve does these things. If there's a big... I mean, they reworked... Back in the 7.00 patches, right, when they put in talent trees and made everything crazy, and 7.07 was a big update to that as well, they reworked multiple heroes. Wraith King is totally different now than he once was. I think Viper got a makeover as well. A couple other heroes just got completely changed. And I remember thinking to myself at that time, if they just reworked IO out of the blue, or from a different perspective, if I was a Wraith King player and I was 6.5k MMR with Wraith King, how am I going to manage my life after this rework? Or surely they'll change it back, right? I play Wraith King a certain way. They're going to change it back to the way that I like it. I don't think so. So the reality is, I don't think they're changing back IO either. I'm basically making this video as some form of public crying, for people to recognize that someone somewhere is upset with this, because I think that's the only chance we have to change it back, is if somebody somewhere recognizes that the general public is not happy with these changes. But these are horrible, and they stop the hero from being fun, and that is literally the worst criticism you could possibly receive from any changes to anything that is literally a game. It's a game, and you've taken away a subset of what makes the game fun. You could not have fucked up more. Nothing more to it than that. So, I don't know what to say. I have a couple of videos lined up that I should have put them out all before the new patch. I was sort of naively thinking I would bleed them out. I'm going to post my old videos. I've uninstalled Dota. I'm going to take a couple weeks off. I'm going to see how they change IO back or don't. And we'll play it from there. I mean, quite literally, they are making this shit up as they go along. It is a fucking joke, right? 2 patches ago, IO's tether is 12 seconds long. The next patch, they make it 14 seconds long. Okay. You know, they want to try and change a little bit about how tether works, so be it, okay? Next patch, they make it infinitely long. Oh. What was the point of making it 14 seconds if the whole plan was to make it 1 billion seconds? How does that make any sense? You guys planning this out? You thought that 2-second increase would be a good reflection of what the... Okay, so be it. Next patch, it doesn't have slow anymore. Oh. You mean like that main rune that we have in Dota Plus, which came out 6 fucking weeks ago? That tether slow rune? You're telling me that when they were planning this Dota buff patch like 6 months ago, 5 months ago, they knew that they were going to knock out tether? They're just making this shit up as they go along, guys. Not to mention the impact that every single patch has on the professional scene is becoming insane. More and more professional players are beginning to lose their shit at the idea that they have to prep for tournaments every 2 months, and within those 2 months there are 3 huge patches that reset core items in the game, how heroes' abilities are working. They skew the benefit one hero has against another. It's insane. This whole concept of having patches every 2 weeks was marketed to us as being very small increases. It's basically a big patch, but we're gonna do it over like 6 months for no reason. Except we've got... Can you guys add up in your head the amount of patches that we've had? I mean, we've had, what, 8 patches? 6 patches in the past 12 weeks? And every single one of them, with the exception of maybe one, has been huge, sweeping changes to 50+ heroes, multiple items, every 2 fucking weeks. They are just making this shit up as they go along. And what a better way to accelerate the death of your already dying game than fucking with the player base every 2 weeks. This doesn't keep people interested. This keeps people stressed out. How are you supposed to react to the meta when the meta changes every 2 weeks? How are you supposed to get the most streamlined Faceless Void build when Faceless Void gets knocked around. Oh, well, now he's against Ember Spirit, and Ember Spirit's had his huge changes, so you have to remap how you're going to play Faceless Void to go up against that opponent. Oh, but in 2 weeks ago, wasn't there a different patch change that changes how strength's calculated, so now you need to think even more. What the fuck are they doing? What the fuck are they doing? It doesn't make any sense. Someone somewhere needs to fire a whole bunch of interns and sit down and, like, pull the strings in, because this is just chaos. They're just making shit up as they go, and it's kind of insane. So, yeah. I'm stressed out about the whole process. I don't like how they've changed the hero. Kind of getting fed up with the game in general, and I just want to take some time off. So, hopefully I can piece a video together from this long rant. Hope you guys still like the game. You know, it's all you can say, isn't it? I hope you guys are still having fun, because I'm not anymore. Wisper out.